how are you doing today? So I wanted to share with you how my first psychiatry session went, and every session is just like 30 minutes, so we didn't have that much time to talk, but I got a homework and I want to share with you what the homework has been. And I also booked another session with the psychiatrist like almost 1 week from my first session, so I have the second session in a couple of days. And I want to talk to you about what I have been doing this week to help myself with all my anxiety. If you don't know what I'm talking about, make sure to watch the previous video in this series to know what I'm dealing with. And yeah, so we talked about my problem, and she said that of course it's normal if you have been through something like having cancer or something else, like traumatic experience, that you have these catastrophe feelings. That's such a hard word to say. And it's easy to get anxiety and go, like, if you have a thought, it's easy to just go down the spiral. And I have definitely been going down that spiral so many times and so often. So we talked about how now my homework is to, when I get some sort of like when an anxiety attack begins, I need to recognize that and also write down what I'm usually are doing when I get these feelings and these thoughts. That I'm usually maybe going like Googling my symptoms, or because often it starts with like some sort of physical thing that happens. Like for example, the other day I had like really like bad pressure on my chest, and also feeling very like nauseous, and I had like pain in my stomach. And then it was a really good example, because then I started to think of like maybe it is cancer again, because I had those exact feelings when I got to know I had cancer. So that was my symptoms then, and I started to get these like, oh, what if it is, you know, I have a relapse or something. But then the part of the homework was to look and see what else it could be. For example, the rest of my family are having like a flu, and they have kind of the same symptoms, but they also have like their throat is sore and they have like a runny nose. I don't have those symptoms, but I definitely feel a bit under the weather. So instead of going down the normal spiral I'm always going, I try to stop and say like, okay, it probably could be the flu that I've also got. And to try to stop this anxiety, I did something else. Instead of listening to these thoughts and started to go with it, my homework was to do something completely different, to kind of change route and go another road instead of the usual road I always go. So I decided to come here into my room and turn on my diffuser, and also have some essential oils to smell. And I also put on some like very calm music, or I've also a couple of times been listening to a like someone talking, like a guided meditation, and I also are holding a crystal, because I have a lot of crystals, like a ridiculous amount of crystals in my room. They're like everywhere, and the reason why I have so many crystals is because where I live we have a little cute store. It is a couple who owns the store, and in there, like, the man, he's making his own jewelry, and I've been to like 3 of his courses, and I actually made like these, I don't know if you can see, these jewelry, except for this one I haven't made that one, but all the other I've made myself, and I loved it. So every single time I went to these courses and went in that store, I always came out with lots of crystals because I think they're so beautiful to look at. And yeah, so like the reason why I'm like having a crystal in my hand is necessarily not because I think they have like magical powers. It's more like it's nice to hold something. And the thing with meditation and, you know, relaxing your mind is to try to not think about the things that's in your head, but put your like energy and like all your all of your mind into something else. And it's easier for me, instead of just like sitting there trying to think about nothing, it's easier to have something to hold and like massage it and like feel the crystal in my hand, because all the crystals feel different. Some of them are like this, very like rough and have edges and everything. Some of them are just like very smooth and, you know, different feelings, you know, just to hold them and try to focus on the crystal in my hand instead of what's going on with all the anxiety in my head. So I usually sit here and just try to do that, like breathe in and out and feel the crystal in my hand and try to meditate. And I always have like a hard time just relaxing and put my thoughts into the crystal, like just be here and now. So I also started to practice some gratitude, and that's good for a whole nother reason as well, because I've been very like down and have lots of like negative thoughts, I realized, because I caught myself actually having all these like, oh, I wish I had that, and I wish I was doing that, and so many things I wish I was doing or had, and I didn't really feel grateful for the things I actually do have. And I can definitely say that in these, like with anxiety, like to be very negative, and I have this like, oh, poor me, I'm gonna die, you know, all those feelings, to actually like reverse them with like putting lots of gratitude and think of things that I'm really grateful for. It put my mental health like upside down, like it flipped it totally, and I started to feel like very happy. So yeah, I just want to say that I'm very excited about this. This has not, you know, just overnight cured all my anxiety and, you know, changed my whole life, but I'm very excited about this actually working a little for me. And I actually thought it was a very positive experience, and I'm excited to go back to my like psychiatrist and, you know, talk about this and see what she has to say, and, you know, if we can continue to find really good tools for me to, you know, once and for all, you know, get rid of this anxiety. And I just want to give this tip to you, and of course I'm gonna keep you updated and see how it goes with time, but yeah, as I said, I want you guys to do this with me, and if this can help you, because I never thought that I could implement and use gratitude when I have anxiety attacks, because often when you have an anxiety attack, it's like, okay, try to sit down and breathe. But I still feel like, and you know, even though you sit here with your crystal and listening to some relaxing music and have this calm environment, it's hard to just focus on something else than your like anxiety and all these feelings, because at least I have so many thoughts that's like running through my head and like I'm gonna die. So if you try this yourself and sit down and using gratitude when you have an anxiety attack or something, let me know if it helps you. And as I said, I'm gonna keep you updated, and you know, we will see where this is gonna take me. I'm just very excited about this, so I just thought that why not make a video and talk about what I'm experiencing, and, you know, take you guys along with me on the journey, you know, step by step where I am. So yeah, please talk to me in the comments or send me a message, and I will be happy talking to you. And thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Hej då!